Hello there. Happy hump day. I'm going to tell you a story today, one of such high class and sophistication that it requires a swivel chair, a fireplace, a fancy clock, a sweet pajama suit, a fancy bow tie, and most of all, a glass of scotch. So where do we begin? It is senior year of high school. I'm good friends with the most prestigious crowd, and I do not mean the popular crowd. Some of them were popular, but they weren't the popular crowd. We start with the smartest. They were the smartest. That's what I was going for. Me, personally, I was pretty smart, but I did not apply myself in high school, so I skated by on B's, ending my year with a 3.0 average. These guys were the valedictorian and the number 4 in our graduating class, all with 4-point-something bajillions. These guys were smart. And that's why this is such a classy story. We had a government class where it was called AP Government, and we went to the courthouse. We went to City Hall for a municipal court, some kind of, I'm not entirely sure of what the trial was, but that's not important to the story, other than the fact that there was a trial. Well, we are at City Hall, and I am sitting next to my good friend, Ross, and my other good friend, Tanner. I am in the middle between the two. Well, court's going on, whatever, yada, yada, yada. I'm rich, who cares? That kind of thing. And, Ross and Tanner and I, we're having these hush-hush conversations where we're talking a little bit here, a little bit there, a little sneaky there, and then all of a sudden, I look over, and Tanner gets this look on his face. Like, that look of sheer terror. Something a little bit like this. So, I'm looking at him, thinking, I wonder what's going through his mind. Probably not something good. So, as you know, in most courthouses, they have wooden benches, wooden pews, as you might say. And on those wooden benches, any sound in this hollow room, giant hollow room, echoes. I'm sure you're seeing where this is going. Highly sophisticated. Tanner, being the classiest of the class, the most sophisticated of the sophisticated, looks to me with that face of terror, lifts up his right leg just a tad, and lets out the loudest fart I have ever heard. It was like, let me do that again. As it reverberates off of the wooden bench, the wooden pew. The fart was so loud that the judge himself, the honorable judge of the court, looked up and stared at us as Tanner has this absolute face of terror on his, just the absolute look of terror on his face. He's like, he didn't actually verbally say the And Ross and I, we're sitting there, trying not to laugh. Which, in a circumstance where you're trying not to laugh, it just makes things more funny. And then you get in the spiral of... that kind of thing. Well, that's not where it ends. The judge says, resume, and we go about our business. Well, Tanner, who is in absolute anxiety mode, he's in shame mode. He feels he has disgraced his family, disgraced his cow, and disgraced himself. Leans over to me and says, hey, I think I just shat myself. What? I, of high class and sophistication as well, did a double take and began to snicker uncontrollably. Ross, sitting next to me, leans over and says, what seems to be the problem? I turn over to Ross. In the snickering, I'm trying not to laugh. Our teacher's like right in front of us. She turns around and is giving us this face. And I lean over to Ross, snickering, and I tell him, Tanner thinks he shot himself. It's so hard to get through this story. So, we go to recess, and the teacher decides that, well, the field trip's over, we wanted to just have the experience. So we start leaving, and of course, Tanner, Ross, and I get stopped by the teacher on our way out. She goes, you guys are usually my favorites, my most well-behaved, my most highly respected individuals. So I'm gonna let it slide. But don't do it that again. So she walks out in front of us. And then there's me, Ross, and Tanner walking out in shame. But nobody in more shame than Tanner. We walk to the outside, and we get that fresh air. Ross and I are still snickering a little bit to each other. And Tanner does the funniest thing of all. He walks out onto the marble stairway. And he goes like this. That tiny nugget of terror that Tanner thought he shot himself rolls out of his pant leg and just rests upon the top of the City Hall stairway. He looks down at it, goes, oh, and then and quickly starts walking down the staircase in his Tanner fashion. Ross and I take a look back, and we cannot believe it. He actually did shat himself. He pooped himself. In court. Alright, that's all I got. That is one of my favorite stories. One of my favorite stories of all time. It just blows my mind. It's so good. able to watch this video without snickering even a little bit, you have no comedy in your soul. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I'm going to try to make videos every Wednesday, so until the next time.